Welcome into another episode of Happy Friday, America. It is January 17th, and I can't help but say this. My name is Arthur Rawe, and as of today, I'm super excited because I officially have an esposa. That's right, I am marrying my fiance today, so it's a really big, exciting day for me, and hopefully we can bring in the right energy to make it a fantastic Friday for you as well. Bunch of fun stuff to cover this week, and of course, you already know I got Kevin sitting across the table from me, my man, yum, nothing tastes like home, Batstone.
Happy Friday. Good to see you again. Art, congrats on your marriage today. That's super exciting. Get you out of here and get on the way. I'll be at the reception party a little bit later today, so I'm looking forward to that. We're going to have a great time. And let's go, America. Let's kick off this weekend.
Let's kick it off. And today in history, January 17th, we got some cool ones. So Captain Robert Scott's expedition arrives at the South Pole 1 month after Roald Amundsen, I think is how that guy's name goes.
I like the voice inflection.
Amundsen.
Makes it sound more legit.
I mean, look, this was on Netflix, The Terror. It was cool. It was about them trying to find the North Passage to, like, North America, and there was, like, this beast up there. But I don't know why. I'm thinking about these ships getting stuck in the Arctic, like in these 1800s, 1900s and stuff.
I mean, hey, it happened. It's in history.
It is in history. 1917, the United States pays Denmark $25 million for the Virgin Islands.
That was a pretty good deal there back when.
A pretty good deal. And then, hey, if you're into spinach, if you like popping them arms out, well, 1929 is a great date for you because that's when Popeye aired for the first time in a comic strip. It was the Thimble Theater.
Popeye the Sailor Man.
Doot, doot.
We watched Popeye as kids.
Oh, totally.
This was old school Popeye though. This was like in the comic strip.
Yeah, comic strip. So
hadn't
not
come
the
alive
cartoon,
yet.
not
Yeah.
the cartoon. 1955. Obviously, nukes were already in use and had been used in warfare at that time. The United States submarine Nautilus begins its first nuclear-powered voyage. So that's kind of crazy. Like, the nukes were first dropped. We were looking into them in early 1940s, and then less than 10, 15 years later, they already got a nuclear-powered submarine, which obviously changed the way nautical wartime ships and, like, aircraft carriers were powered moving forward. And then another thing on the United States, my birth year, 1987, United States President Reagan signs secret order permitting covert sales of arms to Iran. So that there is just kind of curious because it's like, if they're doing it back then, you know they're still doing it today. What kind of secret deals does the United States have out there? What are we secretly selling to other countries right now? And that's today in history.
It's a great rundown of history today, Art. We're going to keep it moving. AI. Artificial intelligence, we've been talking about it for years. We've seen it grow. We've seen what it can do. The robots are what scare me the most, of course. I watch Terminator, Skynet, guys. I've always been worried about it. Well, if you've got an extra $175K laying around the house and you want to buy yourself a romantic robot, you can do that. And you can have an AI partner. Now, I'll preface this article with...
A romantic robot?
Yep. I will preface this. This is not a sex toy. This apparatus doesn't do sex. It's not designed to. It's designed to have... You can, for an elderly, it could be a companion for them. If you're somebody that, has zero social skills at all and you just want a romantic, intimate person that's going to be there that remembers things, that wants to talk to you about your day, you can do that. So
is that romantic or just like is it...
You could have...
It could be romantic or it could just be like platonic.
Or it could be platonic, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's everything you want it to be with the exception of sex, according to the director of this AI partner.
I think they really missed the ball on that because...
I would agree.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, I wouldn't want any of this.
No.
Okay? I'm not doing robots sexually or just around the house.
And you didn't see that Netflix, that movie, like with the...
Her?
With the robot. No, it was like the robot chick. It was like Megan Fox playing as the robot.
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I didn't see it. But there is a movie reference here called Her, which is what they're kind of relating this to. So the company CES, they're willing to sell you a robot girlfriend. It ranges from $150K to $175K. You can like 3D print scan a face idea, like if you wanted to put like Scarlett Johansson on your robot, you could do that. They customize stuff like that.
That's kind of weird. Like, what if they're like stalking somebody and like...
It's a little weird.
That could be weird.
The biggest thing I think is weird about it is like this is the beginning of where it's going to go, right? We're seeing early stages of this AI robot technology, It's only going to get bigger and more scary. We've seen what Boston Dynamics is doing with some of these robots and the way it can move. Basically what they're describing this thing as is like a mannequin riding a Roomba. Is how it's. To me, it doesn't sound like it's there yet for 175K. It feels like there's a lot of things that are going to go wrong with this. Apparently, you can even disassemble it and take it in a suitcase if you wanted to travel with it.
Interesting.
That just seems like a whole lot of battery liability issues I think could blow up. I don't know about all this.
Well, and you're going to be living in this sense of uncanny emotional support because it's not an authentic, it's not a real.
It's a cyborg.
Yeah, it's fake, and so there's going to be that layer of uncanniness to it.
That's where the world's going.
And it's just it's really stupid, honestly, that people are at a point where they would rather pay like a whole annual salary for some sort of companionship opposed to biting the bullet and just taking rejection in the market until you actually meet people that are aligned with you.
Right.
Because making friends, finding romantic interests, either or. Like, you're going to go through some rejection. You're not always going to meet people that like you and vice versa for friends. And it's just people are afraid of that. And so then they're hitting the easy button by buying romantic companionship. Like, that's crazy.
It's like I said, it's really just a sign of what's to come because this thing said it can also work as like a sales consultant. Like if you wanted to work a booth or represent your company as like a brand, ambassador, you could do that.
That's kind of more practical, but then you're even like getting people out of the job.
You're getting people out of a job, which, like Mark Zuckerberg was saying on Joe Rogan last week, he's like, I'm not willing to say yet that AI is going to replace work. He says, when you look at the progression of technology over the last 100 years, there's always been consolidation. There's always been, when you think of like the checkout lanes at the grocery store. Back in the day, they used to have to manually put in the prices of every item, and then boop, we started scanning it. Things got quicker. Everything kind of evolves as we go. I'm not real excited about where this is going, though. I've been concerned about AI has a lot of places. I feel like things like ChatGPT we've talked about, the way it can analyze information super quick and give you in-depth breakdowns. Great. This stuff I don't like because to piggyback off your point, it's normalizing and almost encouraging less human interaction. Yeah. Right? And that's what's scary is when you separate that and you let the cyborgs start to intervene with daily communication. This is who you're going to go talk to about your day rather than meeting with your friend over a beer or whatever. That to me is more concerning than anything else.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a sense of loneliness and emptiness there. And that's because you're talking to something that was man-made. It's uncanny. It's not authentic.
It's not real. And what's that going to do for your overall mental health long term? That's the other thing. We talk about the instant gratification, the easy button. What's this shit going to do to your mental health 5 years down the road? Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I think one of the best things that you could do is have self-love. We're going to kind of stick around, I'm tying a knot today. We got some articles in here about people loving robots. I got an article next about people loving yourself and
self-love's important.
And why. And this was an article that was written by an older gal that is lesbian, and she talks about pleasure activism and the excuses you need to have more sex this year and sexuality this year. And one thing that was interesting about jumping into this article is, as I was reading through it, it's kind of on that like woke part of things, which is okay with me. Inclusion is okay with me. Obviously, on Discussion Combustion, we have all walks of life, and everyone is allowed to share their opinions and talk.
Absolutely.
But, I feel like some people go a little extreme with it, because while I was reading this, it was promoting, like, yes, have your own sexual awakening. You'll be more confident if you are able to freely express yourself sexually. But it really seemed to lean toward the LGBTQ community, and it actually alienated white heterosexual guys specifically.
Interesting article choice here.
Well, it was interesting because I want to have this inclusion to show that two white heterosexual guys can also highlight this and point out the things that are important here. So even though like it's a good article that talks about that, there was kind of that other discussion piece while I was putting this together as far as like, for people who want to have inclusion, it's kind of hypocritical to be excluding specific people within the same narrative. So I did want to call that out if you happen to be going in the show notes and checking out this link. It was still a pretty good read. But basically, what we want to do this year is just create more opportunities for joy within ourselves. And like, so having that freedom to express yourself sexually, like, gives yourself the confidence to create joy. You might find new areas of like life that you actually are able to like express, because if you're sexually repressed, then that bleeds over into a lot of other areas to where you don't feel confident or you don't feel like you're attractive or desirable. So it was actually a pretty interesting read, but just based upon the article and the type of temperature that was in there, I wanted to highlight a couple things because, you know, it's all love over here.
Right.
And any stereotype is a stereotype. And until you get to know people, like, you really shouldn't loop any ethnicity, group, gender, or whatever into a stereotype.
No, I agree with that 100%. I mean, I think I'll add a couple points to this because I agree with a lot of it. I think it is important to express sexuality and own who you are. I'm going to go back to basics approach. When you own who you are, gay, straight, trans, whatever brings you a sense of peace and joy when you go to sleep at night and you feel comfortable identifying as, you got to full send own that. And you got to live it, you got to breathe it, you got to believe it, regardless of who's watching. Don't look for someone else's validation, because when you have complete self-control and self-domination and you know exactly what you are and what you're about, that's the masculine and feminine, you know, energy that we talk about that creates for sexual polarity for experiences like this to happen. When you're completely, you know, dialed into your masculine or your feminine and you see the opposition there, you build that sexual polarity, and naturally you're going to have amazing experiences and be able to express yourself sexually because you've already owned everything that leads up to that. Right?
Yeah, I do agree with that. So, you know, just more reasons why it's get away from the robots.
Get away from the robots.
Get away from the robots.
Yep.
Make some real connections.
Yes.
Handle some rejection in life.
And own your shit.
And own your shit. I completely agree with that. And you know who's owning it. We already know David Rush. So, Kev, you got the random record of the week from David Rush, it looks like.
Record breaker Rush. He is back in my random records again. The man is, I mean, the man, the myth, the legend. I say it every week. If you haven't yet, go back a couple weeks on the Discussion Combustion production video page. You'll see we had him on Discussion Combustion. Fantastic. We learned a lot about it. So for the second year in a row, Art, he did 52 records in 52 weeks again.
Oh, wow.
So he pulled this off in 23 and in 24, and he highlighted some of the crazy records. The one that he finished with was the balloons. He said the one that he kicked off this year with was most ping pong balls caught in shaving cream on his head. In 30 seconds, he was able to do 14 ping pong balls.
I wonder how much shaving cream was on his head.
I mean, you know, he put quite a bit on there as like a landing ground for these ping pong balls. So he was doing about one ball every 2 seconds on the landing. So that was his first one to kick off this year. He said the difficult one was blowing that playing card, which we saw. Remember, he was like working with it.
Yeah, in the gym, off of one breath, too.
Off one breath, 33 feet and 4.78 inches. And he said the most painful one, we already knew this, was the lemon lime juice. Yeah. That one was brutal on him.
So a record a week.
One record per week, 2 years in a row.
No, this guy's serious. I mean, he was talking about stuff like where he was juggling while walking up a stair-stepper machine, and he would go like 100 flights or some shit.
David Rush is on another level.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to be to maintain this type of record-breaking Rush mentality.
You definitely do.
David Rush is a full sender.
Dude, he's definitely a full sender, and it just goes to show you, like, you know, I guess we have a couple underlying arcing themes here. Like, you have to go through some discomfort to reach greater levels of success. You don't just get to a better position in life by hitting the easy button all the time.
Nope.
Like, you have to like have that grit. You have to have the resilience, and you actually need to like have a challenge that you overcome, and hopefully you fail at a little bit along the way, so then you can stay humble and continue to learn.
Yeah, it's true. You know, it might sound cliche. It might sound like a broken record to some people, and some people just don't want to admit that fact that it's not going to be easy. For some people, they have an easier path. I'll give them that, right? Maybe you came into money. Maybe you had some things go your way. But you're still going to run into obstacles in life that if you still are going to be challenged in ways, whether you came into money or not, or whatever your definition of success is, which I'm still thinking about Brandon's point last week's episode. What is your definition of success? Right?
Yep.
Well, how do you define that? So all that ties in together. We're getting kind of deep here, Art.
No, yeah, we're due just a solo DCPC, and so to keep this thing moving, because obviously we could go off right now. We gotta jump into the Would you rather? But of course, we got to recap last week's Would You Rather.
Let's go to the field for the call.
And for that one, it was, would you rather have to wear sandals for the rest of your life or have to wear shorts for the rest of your life? I chose to wear shorts. Kevin chose to wear sandals.
There was a lot to that, though. I mean, as we know from the promo clip last week, I went into in depth on why this is surprising results.
People are choosing the sandals?
We got the live action results right here. If you go over to our Twitter X page, that's Happy Fry over there, at Happy Fry USA. 67% of America is going with me with the sandals.
Really?
33% are going with the shorts. I predicted last week that America was going to go unanimously shorts.
Yeah, so you
and
were
America
wrong.
Did me dirty again.
So you were wrong. You were right about two things last week, but apparently you were wrong about one.
I was wrong about my prediction.
My girl also picked the sandals.
Did she?
Yeah, because it's like, if you're living in like a nice temperate climate, then you don't need pants.
Well, no, but the idea was that you'd have to do it where your current situation is, right?
Well, wherever you are.
Because like you said to me last week, you're like, well, what about the snow? And I was like, well, what about Cody Lundeen?
I'm like, are you Cody Lundeen?
Fuck no, that man's a beast.
Either way, the Would You Rather is a lot of fun. So, I'm doing a twist on a classic. We've talked a lot about cheese here. Tu gustas de queso over here. All right, we like that. And so what I got to go with here.
Keep coming up with these fucked up Would You Rathers.
For this Would You Rather is, would you rather never eat cheese again or never have a sexual moment with a partner again?
Now, let me ask you, never have sexual moment with a partner again. Why not just simply give up cheese or sex? What's the difference between sex and a sexual moment with a partner?
Because you can, I was just trying to make it
sound more beefy than it is?
No, I was just trying to make it sound less direct. Because a sexual moment with a partner could be oral type stuff or whatever, and so it's I wanted to encapsulate all of that.
Okay.
So you're giving up physical romance,
intimacy.
With a partner, or you're giving up cheese.
I'm giving up cheese, man.
You're giving up the cheese.
I love cheese. We know this. I absolutely love cheese. It's in my fridge all the time. I love cheese and crackers. I love charcuterie. It's one of my favorite foods. But I mean, to take that over sex would be. Now, I know there's probably some people that have different scenarios that it would take the cheese, but for me, I'm keeping the sex.
Yeah, the cheese has got to go for me.
Yeah.
Cheese is out of here.
Cheese is out. Get rid of the cheddar. Yakety yak, pepper jack. It's out. I'm keeping the sex.
Yakety yak, I'm getting that. So I'm removing the cheese.
No vegan cheese either. You can't be substituting.
No, it was pretty obvious which way we were going to go. But which way are you going to go, America?
This was not a hard one.
And I guess I could just say, are you going to never have cheese again, or are you never going to have sex again? Let us know in the comments.
How about some Fromunda?
Fromunda?
Fromunda cheese? You never heard that? Never mind. We won't get nasty on here.
Yeah, this is supposed to be.
It's a family show.
It's
sort of.
I mean,
we're 18 plus.
Yeah,
it is what it is. It's Friday. It's the weekend, man.
What we got next?
All right. So here's the deal. Over in Providence, Rhode Island, kind of North Providence, I call it my neck of the woods. It's part of New England. Look, it's a small area over there. That's not my child, Art. This lady. Okay, she's sitting there waiting for her kid. Get off the bus. Bus pulls up. Kid gets off. It's not her kid.
So who got off?
It was not the right kid. So her son was autistic, so obviously he needed a little bit of special, care along the way to get him to and from school and whatnot.
Okay.
Sarah Batista was her name. She's gone public with the local news media down there to say they completely failed. The Durham Bus Company, which is responsible for bringing her 3-year-old to and from North Providence every day, they come to the door, they get the child. Nobody was there, right? At the end of the day, they don't know where the kid was. He got mixed up somehow, and basically, she threw this entire school system under the bus, which rightfully so. That's a pretty big fail.
Mm-hmm.
That's
to lose a person.
Well, I mean, part of our public schools' duties. I don't know. I'm assuming this was a public school. It might have been private, but either way, you're responsible for getting the kid to school safely and home, for that matter, right? That's part of the the school's job. So in any case, she went to the news about it. They have the crime fighters or the tip line or whatever at their local news media. And so now it's brought a lot of awareness to surrounding schools and, making sure that they have, checklists and their accountability. I mean, it's 2025. Mm-hmm. I mean, you would think that there would be a little bit more GPS.
Throw an AirTag on your kid.
That's what I'm saying. Why would, back when we were riding the bus.
But I guess you wouldn't think that you need to do that.
Well, apparently you do these days.
Put an AirTag on it.
Because we're so damn unorganized as a society. But, I mean, Art, back in the day, I used to sneak on, we used to call them colors. There was the red bus, orange bus. They weren't painted this.
Okay.
The red bus went to one part of town, orange bus went to another. And, like, my buddy was on the orange bus, and I rode, like, the green or something. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm going to get on the orange bus with my buddy.
Get sneaky.
Yeah, and get off, at his stop. Because back then, I'm old enough, like, you didn't need parental permission slips and stuff. Be like, oh, he's going to get on the bus with so-and-so today. Mm-hmm. That started more a little bit after our time, I think. But anyway, at the end of the day, they did locate the child. He was routed improperly. They got the child reunited with the mother, course.
That's good.
But that's a scary moment as a parent when you're waiting for your 3-year-old to get off the bus and this kid gets off. It's not yours.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen things like, we looked at a lot of articles here, and I was, like, seeing things about, like, it not being their kid, like, after birth or some shit, and, like, all these different things. And the more that we could be organized, the better. But how old, like, was the kid in this one again?
He was 3.
3 years old. Okay, so you're not dealing with, like, a little prankster mastermind at that point. Like, you're
talking
like a
preschool.
Preschool. Yeah. So, yeah, to lose a baby...
It's kind of unacceptable.
I guess our PSA on this one is if you have a toddler, just put an AirTag on it.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you put it in their backpack or whatever, like, I don't have kids, but if I did, I would imagine I would probably go that route.
Yeah.
Right? Because then
if you're concerned about this stuff, you could even, like, go as far as just, like, creating, like, a secret pocket.
Or just tell them, hey, you're under GPS supervision in this household. You got to have this on you.
No, because then like little rebels are gonna be like, screw this AirTag, they're tracking me. They're gonna like hook it in the woods.
Maybe, yeah, maybe you're probably right. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't let them know. You have to just put it on there.
I mean, yeah, I suppose you're right. Because he's a little too young to have a cell phone. So I was gonna say because you can track those too. But
yeah,
the AirTag's gonna be the way to go.
So they make chips for like animals and stuff.
Microchips.
Yeah, do they do that for people?
Well, I think now you're starting to get into some like Neuralink, futuristic Mark of the Beast shit. But yeah, I think that's coming very shortly. Yeah,
I bet there's probably people out there. Actually, I'm pretty sure there is people out there with like the little like thing inside of them.
I'm not getting it.
Some of it's like it's like a contraceptive too. It's like something that they put in their arm, and it like is this hormone thing. Like I've felt it in women's arms before. It's like this little thing that they put in there.
Right. Yeah, that's contraceptive. That's a little different than.
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. So, what was a big surprise last week, and we're so happy that a majority of families were the majority of people were able to make it out safe of these crazy fires in Los Angeles. Yeah. And Sarah Christine, a good friend of ours.
She lost everything.
Yeah, a lot of people lost all their homes. It's a difficult scenario. One of the people that was affected by this was Marissa Hermer, and she used to be on Ladies of London, so, kind of like a TV star. She lost everything within the fires, like a lot of people did.
It's bad.
But she did have some restaurants, and through the chaos, like, I don't know what to do. Where are we going to sleep? All this. And also, what are we going to eat? Like, what are the families going to eat? So then what she's doing is a program called You Give, We Cook, They Eat. She is setting up kitchens in a couple of her different restaurants to where they're providing foods for the families affected by the fires, and also to help feed all the volunteer firefighters that are out there and the efforts. So always in dismay, there's always some people that rise to assist. And that's like, I forget the saying for this, but like you, and let's say that it's a crowded scenario and like a car flips and everyone's just like, and then one person runs in to go help, and then all of a sudden it's like a crowd mentality. Like, so try to be that first person to help, because then you might inspire more people to go help. And that's exactly what she's doing.
That's great.
There was a good quote here. I'm alive. I'm surviving. It comes in waves. She says, last night I didn't know what to do. I was sobbing. I had no answers. The devastation is enormous and not singular to me. It's shared by the masses. And she's like, what can I do? And then she stops and she's like thinking, well, there is hope. We can band together. We are a community. Let's fix this. Let's help. And she saw the path of making food and keeping people fed as her purpose to help. So I just wanted to highlight that. I'm going to go ahead and give her the hero of the week. And I just think it's overall a great cause. And she's not the only one doing this. There are so many people out there that are giving in and donating their time and volunteering to help these efforts.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I say a lot is that tough times don't last, but tough people do.
That's a good one.
This is a tough time out there for sure. I mean, people have lost everything, their homes. It's all they've ever known, and it's insurance claims and debris claim. This is going to be going on for a long time. And so anytime you see, I would consider heroic acts or selfless acts like this, cooking, feeding, simple stuff. I saw another group that were doing like just simple hygiene kits. Here's some soap, whatever, mouthwash, boom, boom, and just handing them out to people. Just simple things to help you get through day-to-day survival when you've lost everything and there's nowhere to go. There is no, homeless shelters right now. There is, but they're completely overrun. So
have been before the fire.
So there's just really nowhere to go except away from the debris. And you have the National Guard still on the ground there, so there's still a lot of tension and just a lot of uncertainty of what's going to happen. And last I looked, it's still not even close to 50% contained.
Yeah, so that fire is still going.
The Palisade, I believe, is the Palisade fire is.
That's crazy.
The others have been over 80% containment. Of course, we recorded this not accurately on January 17th.
It's not January 17th right now.
Yeah, we do a little bit of recording time. So a lot has probably changed by time this drops. But Great story, hero of the week. I love it.
Absolutely. And it's definitely just, it's important. And it's also important to make sure you know what you're committing to.
From the hero of the week to the dumbass of the week. It's time for my dumbass of the week. This one's actually coming out of Australia, Art.
Okay.
So
Down Under, is that where you're getting that joke from? The Down Under cheese? What was that?
No, I'll tell you off mic.
Okay.
You'll know what I'm talking about when I say it too. So Australian judge had to annul a marriage, a Melbourne couple. Okay, so back it up a little bit. This couple met on a dating platform in September of 2023. Kind of late 20s, early 30s couple.
Okay.
See what's going on. Heavily social media presence. I guess they had 17,000 Instagram followers, which, I mean, isn't...
That's okay.
I mean, that's not great to pull off what this is ultimately going to be. So they decided to get married and film the whole thing for their Instagram followers. Do it live, do all this stuff, get some interaction, some engagement. And basically, the gal that agreed to do the marriage thought it was a prank. Thought they were doing it just for social media purposes and that she wasn't actually getting married.
She's playing stupid.
She's either playing stupid or is completely the dumbass of the week. There's no two ways around it. And so they had to annul the marriage, basically on the premise that it was believed to be a prank. That's what they annulled it on. But this guy's like, no, this is not a prank. We're doing this. And he basically said he could have the guy was kind of a dick about it. He said, we could have used anybody for this, but we didn't want you to get jealous, so you were the chosen one to get married for this Instagram post. So the marriage had to be annulled, Art.
So the guy was telling the girl that they could have used anyone for this.
Correct.
But they were dating already?
They were dating, yep.
And
she told the courts that she was just playing along, because the groom... She said, I was under the impression that the groom could have used anyone for the video but wanted to use me so that I wouldn't feel jealous. So couple questions still to be answered with this article. The fact remains that these two individuals went into it, got married under a legal court system of Australia, and then had to annul it because it was a prank.
Yeah. I think that's really deserving of this award this week. For sure. And to do it for, the gram.
So stupid.
Only direct family is, even allowed to go see what's going down for me today. I'm not posting it's just, okay, so here's what I really think. Is this guy was a total beta. And he wanted to lock it down because he couldn't believe what he had found. And she has a pity party for him to a certain extent. Oh yeah, I'll play along. I'll do the pity play for this beta male. And he's all trying to lock it in. And then once his behavior was really unacceptable to her, because it's that beta behavior is gross.
She's like, I don't want any part of this.
And then she's all and he's like, well, we got married. And she's like, oh. And then she just came up. That's what I think happened.
It's a good possibility.
I don't know.
Or they could be just complete dumbasses.
I don't
just
know.
complete dumbasses living through the lenses of social media so bad that you don't even realize the conscious decisions you're making in real life.
That's bad.
Like it could be that bad, And I, of course, put this in here as the closing article because you are about to get married.
I am.
Probably as people are listening to this currently, you are saying I do.
Yes, and so is she.
And so is she. So that's a marriage we can believe in. I'm happy for you.
Thanks, man.
It's very exciting.
Thank you.
She's now part of the family.
It is really exciting, and I'll tell you this. I'll say this here. I worked on myself for years and years. I was in toxic relationships. I was also toxic in those relationships. I made mistakes with women until I found what my purpose was, and until I actually figured out how to best take care of myself. I was never going to be good for any relationship. So I did all that work. And due to that, I was able to be a provider for my fiance now, and I was able to help be a decision maker and a place that she can confidently rely on. And that took years of work. So I'm going to go ahead and give some credit to you, Kev, because you and I did some dating together. We've been through some ups and downs together. You also introduced me to Coach Corey Wayne, 3% Man. That book changed my life. And Kevin tried to introduce it to me for 6 years. I didn't want to learn this information, but I just wanted to get a little personal on that note because it really took a lot of self-work, and I'm constantly looking in the mirror and reflecting how I can maintain being a provider and non-reactive, positive, masculine energy to create a happy household. And I've been doing it so well so that I want to marry her, and I'm so excited, man.
That's a great way to encapsulate a lot of talking points of this entire episode. The masculine energy, the grit, the full send, own it, the working on yourself, getting up and just getting it done, and then gravitating. People gravitate towards that energy, and that's exactly
and making the commitment too. Making that big commitment that I was always afraid to make back in the day. So it feels good.
Going all the way.
Feels really good. So cool shit to do this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start this off. Catalog everything that you are grateful for in your life. Like let's make a list. Let's actually be conscious of like what makes you happy in your life right now, and then start removing the things that don't make you happy. Sounds simple, but it was probably a lot of inner work to do that.
Yeah, I think it's a good refresh button.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of the bad shit, take the trash out, if you will, and it's like when you clean out your closet. You're like, okay, I want to keep this, but I want to get rid of that. It's a good thing to do with life sometimes,
and then
too.
It feels so good once it's clean.
It's refreshing. It's cleaned up. It's organized. You know what you're looking at. You know what you don't have anymore. I think that's a great piece of advice and something you could do this weekend starting right now. The other thing is we have a huge cold front coming through Denver.
Oh, boy.
We're going to be getting down into the negatives. So if you're in the Colorado area or even in the North Dakota, we have an Arctic blast coming in. So you're going to want to remember to drip the faucets. Especially if you're in old plumbing. If you're in an interior apartment, you can probably have a little bit more wiggle room. But drip those faucets so you don't deal with a blowout and wake up with 2 inches of water on your floor and you have to deal with that mess.
Yeah, I'm hoping that everyone above me in my apartment unit also does that, because if someone floods way up top, it comes all the way down.
Got to come down.
Full send something that you've been sitting on this weekend, and you know what it is. You know what you've been putting off. Maybe you just want to do 10 push-ups. Maybe you're sitting there looking at your clean laundry pile, just laying there. Full send something.
You got to full send something. I mean, if you don't full send something, you can't half send nothing. So you either do it or you don't, right? And so on that note, what you could also do is say hello to your neighbor.
Okay,
and just,
I like
that.
And
maybe just be like, hey, man, don't forget to drip your faucets, because I don't want your shit blowing up into my place.
Yeah.
And then you strike up a conversation. Next thing you know, you're eating Cheetos.
Hey, I had one of the best relationships with one of my neighbors. They don't live next to me anymore.
Are those ones we partied with one time?
Yeah, we would party with them.
I remember them.
They would throw parties. We were always cool. I didn't always go. They would come over sometimes. They would be like, hey, we need a photographer. We have everybody, but we don't have anyone to take a picture. You know, when you can have that kind of neighborly stuff going on to where it's not awkward if you're different sexes, if you have men and women, and you could be platonic and be a good neighbor. Just don't be creepy. But I agree.
Yeah, I think it kind of pay it forward energy too. I had a neighbor that was moving in, and I helped them carry up their sofa, and I could see they were struggling. That's just neighborly stuff to do. Everyone expects something like, "Oh, did you want us to pay you for this?" No, I'm just doing it. It's neighborly.
Yeah.
Let's get back to basics.
I like
selfless acts.
I like that. And then, of course, start a new hobby. Or actually start the hobby or finish something that you started as a hobby.
Or maybe discover a new hobby.
Yeah.
Maybe discover something you didn't know you'd like painting or something.
That sounds tricky to me. Like, what could I possibly find?
Well, I know, like, my dad started doing painting. He's doing paint by numbers.
Okay, those are fun.
He's been enjoying that. Some people build Legos, Gundam models.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe if you want to be artsy craftsy, maybe you don't want to do that at all. Maybe you've never played pickleball before.
Maybe you start stretching. Okay, so yeah, there's a plethora of things to do.
There's a lot of things you can do. You could do frisbee golf, probably not when it's -10 out, but when it warms up, you can maybe think about it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to do.
Frisbee golf's fun.
It is fun.
You get outdoors.
Get outdoors. Wait for it to warm up a bit, though. We'll get through this, Denver. We're going to warm up next week.
We are.
We're going to warm up. So, all right, Art, we're out of here. You got to go get married. I'll see you at the wedding reception a little bit later today.
Yes.
We're going to have a blast out there, of course. Be sure to follow us Instagram, Facebook, at Happy Friday USA, Twitter X, at Happy Fry USA, not French fry, F-R-I, USA. That's where the promos go up. That's where the polls go up, and you can always prove me wrong because I try to predict what America's going to do, and I never know which way you're going to go, America. So, on that bombshell, we're out of here. Enjoy your weekend. Be good to yourselves.